You know the expression? Are you your own worst enemy? How is that possible? How could someone become their own worst enemy? Precisely because of our blind spots, because we get trapped in our own egos, our own self-interest, we can end up doing things that we're not even aware of that's hurting us, which is far worse than an enemy without. Because someone that's an enemy without, you dictate here's an enemy, you define there's an enemy, and you act accordingly, you protect yourself accordingly. But what do you do when the enemy is within? When you are your own worst enemy? How do you get out of that trap? So again, there is value to have that self-interest, but the downside is it also can trap you into your own comfort zone and your own box. Now, sadly, the reality is that very often we get beyond ourselves when we're suffering. When things are going well and we're comfortable, we say to ourselves, why do I have to do anything? We become complacent, apathetic. I never can resist the joke I always say. The guy asked his friend, what's worse, ignorance or apathy? And he said, I don't know, and I don't care. Apathy. That apathy creates this comfort zone where we remain at a certain, sometimes even mediocre state, the status quo. What shakes us up is when something happens that's negative. Suddenly your comfort zone, your security blanket is pulled out from beneath you. Your comfort zone and your teddy bears or other things you turn to, your crushes, are no longer there, or they're in a weakened state. So that shakes us up. And no one should know of this. But we see in life that often those cracks is what begins to allow the light to get in. Because when you don't have the crack, your mind can be fine, nothing to do. On a positive sense, this is exactly, for example, in business, what competition does. We have an expression, Kina Sofrim Tar B'Chochma. The envy of scholars, of Sofrim, of students, of Sofrim is also scribes, Tar B'Chochma, adds in wisdom. Why? Because that healthy competition, that healthy envy motivates. And you'll see excellence is always driven by some resistance. And the resistance is often from the competition, from someone who's doing similar to you, and you want to outdo them. So there's a positive side to this type of envy. We're not talking about the negative, we're talking about the positive, the motivational element. You see it in school, in education. It can be used in many different areas. So there is an element of shaking us up, not necessarily through pain, but through resistance, through challenge. That's the second way that we wake up.